His brains are on the floor.
Expecting me to remember whose brains were on which floor and for why. It's been 2 years.
Your shitty memory and lack of comprehension skills is not a mistake of the episode.
It might have taken them 5 years to get here, but the Joel survivors have quickly been repaid with this convenient ski lodge with stunning views of Vengeance City.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref. Also, just like that, we're right back to a TVSins favorite, randomly calling things convenient for no reason. I mean, why is it unrealistic for a snowy mountain to have a ski lodge? What world do you live in?
Now that we know what we're dealing with, we can come up with a plan. Right?
Definitely.
A plan for 5 slightly frozen people to attack an entire city? Is Abby French for naivete?
Discount Jeremy has never heard of stealth incursions. And besides, the ridiculousness of 5 people attacking a city is exactly why she just said that they need to come up with a plan. You're alive, so you must have a functioning brain, right? Could you maybe try to use it for once?
Here are the problems. They've got 4 main gates, no other ins or outs, guard towers flanking each exit, mounted patrols all heavily armed, overlapping routes.
I see Owen will be playing the role of the person who lists the impossible elements of the impossible mission to emphasize impossibility.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was waiting for him to explain what the sin was. He's not going to, is he?
You don't actually have a plan, do you? No, I do. The plan is to convince her to go back.
A plan you've had 5 years to work on, by the way, and probably should have executed before entering the freezing your nipples off in the tundra phase.
They had 5 years, but they didn't have any data on Jackson, meaning they couldn't have made a comprehensive plan until now. It's like watching a show with a 5-year-old. Remember, Aaron, just because we know all about Jackson doesn't mean the characters know.
Hey, wow, you look like
Providing motive to the hungover person who already has the means and opportunity to kick your ass into the next pandemic.
Providing nothing of value and instead pointing things out on the screen.
I want you to fulfill your obligation to the community of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. 8 a.m. patrol.
Ellie still being assigned to patrols after her shenanigans yesterday is setting all the wrong examples, regardless of how weird it would be if she was sleeping in while Joel was being clubbed to death.
I agree. The fact that Ellie is able to disregard protocol and get away with it is pretty stupid.
Also, yes, I know Joel dies because of the video game. Unlike Game of Thrones, Red Wedding, where there was no material that I could have been spoiled with.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
I'm still me, he's still Joel, and nothing's ever gonna change that.
This is the closest thing to a kind word Ellie says about Joel in their final 2 episodes together. I know this is well within character, and the state of their relationship at his demise will be epic fuel for Ellie, but what about my feelings, The Last of Us? What about my needs to see my people happy?
If your sin isn't going to be legitimate, which you're fully aware of, and it also isn't going to be funny to anyone with more than 2 functioning brain cells, which excludes your fanboys, then why the hell are you keeping it in the video? Also, this seems like a really weak attempt to skirt criticism, specifically the times when people bring up how things fitting a character aren't a sin. Nice try, Discount Jeremy, but you're still somehow just as incompetent as our current administration.
30 live ones broke through from underneath the corpses. They're using their own dead like insulation.
Is this something fungi actually do? If not, I'm calling bullshit on this. Now, that chasing people and eating them alive is fine, but adapting to cold weather is where I draw the line.
Arbitrary line drawing. Again, it's not a legitimate sin, and it also wasn't funny, so what's the point?
Prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Title of my sex tape?
Discount Jeremy makes a cringeworthy sex tape joke that isn't funny cliche.
Safeties, please. Somebody shot themselves in the leg last week. All right, don't be Earl.
Oh, Earl. That crazy guy managed to waste ammunition, medical supplies, and manpower with one incompetent action. What an adorable mess. Super glad we can laugh about his incompetence. If this was a serious situation like an apocalypse, this would not be funny at all.
The show makes a point of having Tommy behave comedically in front of the general population, and the point of doing so would be clear to you if you actually had the ability to think. Normal people are going to feel much more safe when their leaders are charismatic and use comedy, and feeling safe is going to prevent the people from rioting and looting. Remember, Jackson is a commune, meaning that order is maintained by everyone feeling content. Making light of serious situations is a strategy.
The speed at which this just up in the mountain storm hits the settlement is the reason why Jesse got patrol duty instead of becoming the town meteorologist.
Discount Jeremy is forgetting that meteorologist is one of the only jobs where you're allowed to be wrong half the time.
How'd you know about this place?
Eugene, one day he showed it to me. Said he found it a year earlier when he was on a solo patrol. Swore me to secrecy.
Hiding a well-equipped safe house just because you don't want your wife finding your grow-op is selfish and dumb.
It is certainly selfish and dumb, but how is that a sin of the episode? Are there no selfish and dumb people in the world?
Jim was a firefly?
Yep.
At this point, who the hell hasn't been a firefly? Asking for a Joel who is apparently addicted to shooting them.
And the sin is... Oh, there isn't one? Okay.
Looks like Abby's rifle is operating on a higher plane of consciousness, since it clearly chose to get off the ride before any of the rolling even began.
That's a genuine mistake of the episode. Well done.
Risking a look over your shoulder at the zombie hoarding as if there's a chance that after 20 years of zombie hoarding, they've grown tired of zombie hoarding.
Discount Jeremy has never heard of morbid fascination. If a zombie horde is chasing me, I'm taking a quick peek for sure.
Give me your hand!
Holy convenient Joel Ex Machina. Well, not convenient for Joel, of course.
How do you still not know what Deus Ex Machina means?
Now she realizes she's unarmed. Not when she was being chased by a horde of zombies or crawling/fighting for her life, but as soon as she finds Joel.
Maybe it has something to do with her running for her life? She wasn't trying to fight the horde, she was just trying to escape. It's almost like watching the episode will help you to understand the episode.
Joel, answer the goddamn radio!
Because everyone knows that yelling and cursing can just cut through that radio interference.
Discount Jeremy has never heard of panic.
Split up and come at it from both sides.
Because splitting up is always a smart idea, and definitely not something that has become a trope in every form of media.
And now Discount Jeremy is asserting that tropes are automatically sins. Look, if you can provide a reason for why this specific use of the trope is a mistake of the episode, then I'll agree with you. But you haven't done that.
Let's take northeast. How much time do you think we have?
Looking at my watch here, I figure you have just enough time to stumble onto something absolutely horrific.
Sorry, I was waiting for Discount Jeremy to point out a sin. That's not going to happen, is it?
Oh, we gotta go faster!
I know! I'm trying!
Yeah, Joel, just push your horse's accelerator down harder. Maybe shift the horse into a higher gear.
Isn't it great how Discount Jeremy pretends that pushing a horse to go faster is a ridiculous idea? Have you never heard of spurs, or reins, or verbal commands? It may not be as easy as making a car go faster, but you can still do it.
Also, I'm assuming that they all suddenly turned because of that disturbance in the pipe, but why would one tap redirect the entire horde from the meal that's right in front of them? How do they know that one hoe will result in an all-you-can-eat buffet?
When the workers disturbed the vines, it alerted the horde to the presence of agents in Jackson. You can look at it in a few ways. For example, the vines alert the horde to a potential life form that they can infect. For another example, the vines being disturbed represents a threat to the horde. I'm sure there are more theories, but the point is that we know what attracted the horde, we just don't know the exact mechanics behind it. In other words, we know the how, but not the why. And that's not a mistake of the episode because you can't expect everything to be explained immediately. Now, if it's not explained at all throughout the entire course of the show, then I'll agree with you that it's a sin. But this is only episode 2 of season 2.
They're coming!
Dinosaur infected!
Infected! 5 minutes out!
So, the only purpose of the clanging bell is to signal one guy on the wall to run and find Tommy and Maria so he can play the pronoun game about what the threat is?
The bell is to alert the town of an imminent threat. And guess what happened in the episode? The town was alerted to an imminent threat.
Get off the street!
I'm still not sure why so many people are in the streets in the middle of a blizzard.
Because they're working and moving between buildings. What the hell is this sin?
Jackson, hold!
See, Game of Thrones? This is what the battle for Winterfell should have looked like.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop.
I think that the potential flaw in this burning oil plan might be that your city walls are made of wood.
There's a reason they position the fuel a bit of distance away from the walls, and then they shoot any flaming zombies if they're still functioning. A much better criticism would be this. Why did they not dig a trench filled with wooden or metal stakes around the town? Why did they not pack the walls with dirt and an extra layer of logs?
We'll make it!
If I don't make it, I don't make it.
We're almost there!
The lodge is just up ahead. It's like a minute. We've got blankets, ammo. My friends can help you get back.
Joel decides to forego every character trait that makes Joel Joel by not being a stubborn mule, trusting this total stranger, and not blindly riding in to save the day.
Or a desperate person is acting out of desperation. He wants to save Jackson, and the best shot he has of doing that is to get more ammo and troops, both of which Abby promises she can give him.
So the heavy weapons Tommy talked about being deployed on the ground and the Earl shot himself in the leg briefing earlier consist entirely of 4 guys with flamethrowers and 10 guys in 2 pickup trucks with the same guns that aren't working on the wall in the middle of Main Street?
The flamethrowers and the explosives they showed earlier are most likely what they were referring to by heavy weapons. They can do more damage than normal bullets and are useful for large numbers.
It wants me to believe that this level's mini-boss zeroes in on Maria because her bullets are extra painful, and not because it knows she's one of the people we're supposed to care about.
Hey! Right here! Come here! Come here!
How does the giant shroom know Tommy is talking to it? And why are all the other infected ignoring Tommy when he's their most obvious target?
I played these sins back to back so that you could all see the dishonesty. He starts out by claiming that the reason the bloater focuses on Maria is because her bullets are more painful than the others. Then he sees that the bloater is attracted to Tommy when he starts shooting it, but he pretends that the bloater is attracted to Tommy by his voice. It's clear from a sober viewing of the scene that the bloater is attracted to whoever is shooting it. Maria was shooting it first, then Tommy started shooting it.
Also, it's cool that Tommy is doing this, but less cool when you notice all the infected running around him and ignoring him for no reason.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
Into a dead end in your own town.
Pointing things out on the screen.
If you only have 4 flamethrowers and you have to empty an entire flamethrower just to kill one of these mega infected, maybe it's time to reassess your last resort city defense strategy.
Having limited defensive resources isn't necessarily a sin of the episode. Heavy artillery and other such weapons aren't easy to come by, which is why the stuff I brought up earlier about trenches and reinforced walls should have been the priority for Jackson.
I felt something about this sudden and perfectly timed death if Tommy didn't have a holstered gun that he was just choosing not to use so he could accept his new life as a fungi.
Did you not see the scene where Tommy and Maria were both pumping the bloater full of bullets and it took them all like a good boy?
There is an absolutely 0% chance that in all this chaos, the people defending the city aren't killing as many of their fellow citizens as they are the infected.
What's your point, Vanessa?
Don't do it, I'm gonna smash her in the fucking head.
With how delicate of a science putting someone under with medication is, realistically, she may be better if you smashed her in the fucking head instead.
Probably not. Hitting someone in the head to knock them unconscious isn't actually as safe as is typically portrayed in movies and shows. A blow to the head that's strong enough to make someone lose consciousness is usually also strong enough to give them a concussion, or possibly an even more serious brain injury.
Haven't you heard? There are no more fireflies.
I don't care. I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me.
Discount Jeremy tries to sing in a video cliche.
18 soldiers and 1 doctor. You remember that one? An unarmed doctor you shot in the head.
Technically he was holding a scalpel. Also, he was a doctor who was about to cut the brain out of a perfectly healthy girl, so there is that.
Are you expecting Abby to care about that? She's clearly an emotional wreck because of her father's murder. She's not about to make any concessions.
I was 19.
Thinking your age has any bearing on when your parents die in an apocalypse.
But it does have an effect on how much the trauma from their death affects them. Discount Jeremy doesn't know shit about psychology.
If Abby's going to do what I know she's going to do and wants to drag it out, she should pick a different club. Everybody knows a 9-iron is for your short game.
You're not funny and nobody likes you.
If your end goal is to kill a guy, but you beat him with a golf club first, does that qualify as foreplay? Having the drop on all your opponents and fumbling it by rushing into the room.
Having the opportunity to criticize a TV show and fumbling it by pointing things out on the screen.
Joel, get up.
Making physical demands of your extremely injured apocalypse dad.
Making terrible content by pointing things out on the screen.
Also, we can't play it, but we're definitely ending on an Ashley Johnson sings a beautifully delicate cover of a song reminding me that we don't deserve Ashley Johnson. Cliche.
That's not a cliche. Also, Discount Jeremy sings something he likes cliche.
I love chocolate, but I can't eat it because then I'll get fat. But it's so good.